Alright guys, so I gave you my how to suck less at NHL 19 settings, strats, and line combos video. Today I'm going to show you guys how to use those strats and settings and play defense. I'm No Sleeves 12, and this is how to suck less at NHL 19. Defense. Now guys, first, if you haven't seen my settings video for NHL 19, I recommend go doing it. It's going to make this video make a lot more sense. So, like I said in the last video, this game's settings are much different than 18 and 17. The reason for it is the AI is no longer super overpowered when you just sit in the middle of the slot. If you use high aggressiveness in this game for your AI, they don't hold along the boards, which means they eventually just kind of skate around and they'll end up chasing, which, usually ends up in the back of your net. So you need to switch all of your defensive settings to protect net or collapsing and be a lot more passive in the defensive zone. I'm going to show you how to actually take the puck back, because the counter to playing so passive is that they can just skate around in your zone and eventually get a good shot off. But I'm going to show you how to make sure that doesn't happen and use these strats effectively. So let's get right into it. First thing I want to go over is gap control in the neutral zone. So the neutral zone setup you want to use is the 1-4. That hasn't changed, but what you need to now pay attention to is denying zone entry. The reason why this is so important is because playing a passive style in the defensive zone usually means that your opponent is going to control play. Not allowing them into the zone means that they can't control the play. So here I want to give you some tips on just how to deny zone entry. So the basis of denying zone entry is basically just meeting them at the blue line. You want to make sure that you're not chasing, but that you have the inside track. This is very easy to be done against opponents that just straight line, and you're going to know who those are very early on in the game, because they're just going to do the same zone entry time after time. They're not weaving into the middle, they're not dragging, they're not crisscrossing and passing off behind them. This is just straight down the boards, and these are the easiest to deny zone entry with, and you're going to win a lot more games by just not allowing them to get into the zone, because that is, the best way to score is just not be in the other end of the ice. So I'm going to take this play for example. When you notice that someone is straight lining, okay, what you want to do, like I said, is to just make sure you meet them at the blue line. A couple things I want to mention about this. Again, you don't want to lead with R1 if you're not going to hit the puck first. In 19, you will get a penalty 9 times out of 10 if you're leading with your pocheck and they just skate over it. So you want to make sure that you're going to hit the puck first, not their skates. If they have a step on you, don't use R1. Bail out, go for the body. Secondly, need to have an eye. What I mean by that is if there's two guys, if someone's coming down along the boards against you and they have another winger or maybe their centerman to the left or right of them, they're probably going to pass off. And if you're the last line of defense, meeting them at the blue line is not the smartest way to go about it, because what might happen is if you don't catch them right before the blue line, they can just pass it off and have an easy way to your net. So when you meet them at the blue line, you want to make sure that your other defenseman is actually there covering the middle of the ice, because then you can actually meet them at the blue line, cause some pressure, and you have a guy back to assist if he does decide to pass it off. Next, let's quickly discuss what to do with a free puck in the defensive zone. I want to talk about quick breakouts, okay? When you're skating towards a free puck in the defensive zone, a lot of players, what they'll do is they'll stare at the puck and focus on making sure their player gets the puck. If you're controlling your guy and you're going straight down, the puck's straight down, stop looking directly at the puck. This is what separates good players from much better players, is vision and being able to see things before they happen. So what you should be doing when chasing down a loose puck you're going to get to, have an eye, look around. Where are you going to pass that puck immediately? Because if you hold onto it, there's a very good chance that the guy who's also chasing the puck is going to knock you off and cause a turnover in your defensive zone. So guys, quick breakouts are key. When you're going to get the puck first, this goes for the offensive zone as well, but I'm going to show you that in another video. But when it comes to playing defense, if you're going to get to the puck first, make sure you know where you're going to go quickly for the breakout, because losing the puck in the defensive zone off something like this is an easy way to cause a turnover and have the puck end up in the back of your net. Now, this season, what I want to do is show you specific examples of plays you're going to run into a ton. So, when the guy doesn't straight line and he kind of dipsy doodles every time he enters the zone, it's a little bit more difficult to meet him at the blue line and cut him off and use effective gap control. But there's reads and things that you can do that that better players are watching for. So, first of all is kind of the drag. Basically, they'll go left or right and they'll pass behind you, waiting for you to chase the guy with the puck. There's going to be a guy supporting behind. So, So if you get caught, that's fine. The thing that you need to know in the defensive zone is that everyone is still looking for short side wristers, or at least being able to go far side with the opposite handed stick. So if he's a right handed shot coming down the left side, then he's going to be able to do a short side wrister. So what you want to do isn't specifically in this play, I know he's going to cut to the middle. All these guys are going to cut to the middle because that's the play they're looking for, guys. It's drilled into their head that in the previous game, short side wristers is the way to score. And until people get used to NHL 19, because the short side wrister doesn't go in nearly as often until they get better players in Hut specifically, they're going to keep cutting to the middle and it's going to fail. So what you want to do is, you know that they're going to go to the middle, take a defending player out of the play that's on the far side and just crush them right in the middle. Meet them there because it's going to happen so often. Next up, 2-on-1s, or guys that are on the correct wing, meaning a left-handed player coming down the left side of the ice. Here's what you guys need to know. They are going to go for a pad shot, or a turd, as it is now commonly referred to in the community. He is going for off the pads and into the net, or simply just a pass into the slot. So what you want to do, completely ignore the guy coming down the wing. To be honest, it's going to be very rare, and unless they have an extremely good Hut team, or Crosby, or a trigger man in versus, it's not going to go in. It's just simply the goalies are too good, shot ratings are just too low, and it's a very easy way to cover. So what you want to do, control your defenseman and fade the pass. Always fade the pass in this situation, guys. You need to be aware that they are just going to go off the pads, and that rebound is going to be wide open if you aren't anticipating it. Next defensive tip, don't switch players in the defensive zone. Play the position of the guy that you're controlling. I'm not saying don't be a defenseman and let your AI do it. That's not going to win you games in NHL 19, okay? What you want to do is make sure that you know and where to be and what to cover depending on what position you are. So if you're left defense, you know that you have the left kind of bottom corner of the ice. So on this play specifically, he kind of gets numbers, and I kind of get caught with him passing behind, but I don't overcommit, guys. You don't want to overcommit. You want to live on the L2, the vision control, okay? If you guys get a step and he ends up, getting by you, hold L2, so you start back skating, so you are now controlling the play. He's got to go around you or through you. He can't just turn and go by you. That's something that you need to be aware of. But see, by not switching my player here and chasing and bringing other guys out of position, he has nowhere to really go, and it's an easy turnover. Let's talk about seeing what the opponent sees. All right, so guys, when they're on the rush, or even when they're just cycling in the zone, what you want to do is help your AI. Don't try and do everything yourself. So you see an AI pressuring a guy, stop looking at the dude with the puck. Look where he's looking. So if he's looking for open lanes, things like that, areas to cut, you want to use the guy you're controlling to cut those off, because again, you'll be able to knock down intercept passes way easier in 19, and this is just an example of it. Next thing I want to discuss is forcing your opponent to the outside. What you want to be doing is, with this strat set, is because everyone is kind of in front of your net or in a slot, what you want to do is focus on making sure your opponent sticks to the outside. So if he keeps trying to cut in and whatnot, you don't necessarily need to pressure him. You just need to be in the way. You just be near in the middle. So if you're guiding him to the outside, like in this play here, I guide him to the outside, but I see that my AI is also up there covering him, so I don't need to put a third guy up there to leave one wide open. So what I do is I go up high. I know that the only place for him to go in the open spot here is up high. So he's potentially going to turn the puck over for a breakaway. So again, it's seeing what your opponent is seeing. If they're just cycling around and you know that they're an easy way is, if they're the correct handedness, you know that they're just trying to get a short side wrister or an open 1T. So if you are watching for those instead of watching the guy with the puck, you're going to be so much more successful. And especially with this defensive strat, because you're all passive, you're all in kind of one condensed area, so he's not going to be able to get those 1Ts through. You can forget about, some will go through. It's not that none will, but you can forget about, having a guy wide open in the slot with the skill set. Here's a perfect example of Protect Net just absolutely throttling a guy trying to get into the slot for a short side wrister, or, just any sort of shot. There's just too much going on. He's going to get a garbage shot off, but the goalie saves so much here, and just everything in front of the net, it's too hard to successfully and continuously get shots on goal that are going to be high scoring chances. Again, some will go in, that's NHL. But in this case, what you want to do is, just, like I said, protect net and just collapse into the slot, but play your position. I can't stress that enough. Play your position. So here's an example of what I mean by play your position. Okay, so in this situation here, the left defender who I have selected is the bottom left and he's supposed to cover, but the left wing comes in for support. Now, the guy that he switches off for, who the left wing is supposed to cover, comes into the slot. That's now my guy. You guys want to just make sure that you're in the correct lanes and don't pull your guy too far out of position. You're going to get some wide open lanes and whatnot, but if you play your position correctly, you should have no problem eventually getting the puck back or forcing a really bad angle shot. One of the most important things I mentioned earlier is blocking shots in NHL 19. When a guy is coming down with an opposite-handed winger or player, he is going to shoot short side wristers, okay? He is going to shoot towards the side that he is going away from because it's the easiest way to score in NHL 18 and 17. So basically what you want to do is take your player and just don't even look at the guy. Look at your nets. Look where your goalie and the post is. All you got to do is stand right in between. Here's a full sequence of basically every tip I have, okay? You never want to overcommit, okay? You want to block lanes and make sure that the open, high-scoring chances don't go through, okay? And never pull your guy too far out of position here. So if he's cycling the puck around the boards and using the overload, you want to look at the guy he's trying to pass to in the slot. If it's not an opposite-handed player, like he can't do a one-timer, you can almost ignore him because he's not going to get a one-tee off. You know that he's going to rotate around consistently to try and make sure that he gets into that position. You can use that to your advantage because you know where he's trying to go. Okay, so it's just something that you need to make sure that you have in mind at all times. Look where the lanes are, and would you try and pass to this guy? When you stop staring at the guy with the puck, you're going to notice all of the mistakes you make because you're just focusing and seeing what he's looking at. Here's another example, guys. You can literally just see him trying to get that in the middle slot 1T. Even though I'm not pressuring him along the boards, if you take your player and just make sure that that pass and that shot can't get through, he's got to change it up and go for some craps from the outside. It's unbelievable how many guys are just trying to force in the middle 1Ts, and when you stop pressuring and start focusing on taking away that pass, they're just not going to be able to score nearly as much. So guys, that was my how to suck less at NHL 19 defense video. If you have any comments or suggestions or things that worked, let me know in the comments section below. I really appreciate all the support and whatnot. Thank you for all the subscriptions. And if you want to catch me on Twitch Live, I'm Monday to Friday, 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. Eastern Time. Monday to Friday, I don't miss. So guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. Hope this helps, and I'll see you guys around. You stay sweet.